2 2. Check.
Do we have a sound? Yeah, okay.
Check. Cool.
Ooh. Welcome. Everybody was expecting you. I guess you know. You
Sorry,
already
we're
know
late.
that.
Yeah, it was a bit of traffic coming in. Sorry about that.
Yeah, but you've back to what you're doing the best, touring. You're a band that exists in touring. At least before pandemic times, it was your style of doing it. And you're making a premiere tonight. You're the first time in Romania, and we are very happy for it. I'm just curious, what other premieres are you planning for the next period, in terms of music especially?
Well, yeah, this is our first time ever playing here in this country, and our drive here was beautiful. I mean, what an amazing introduction to your country as well. And it's not very often, and we're blessed to be able to say this, not very often do we play somewhere for the first time, so we're very excited. Probably a little bit more so than any other time this past month. So this is our last show of our tour out here and doing all this European festivals, and we get to go home tomorrow, and so I kind of view this show as a final send-off to a very memorable month, and it's an honor to end it here.
Cool. Tyler, this question is for you, because I know that you've been touring with your family. I don't know if they join you the whole tour, but anyway, part of the tour you've been with your family. How challenging is that, to be with your daughter, to be a dad and an artist on the same time?
Yeah, so, when Josh and I started out, we didn't have families. We weren't married to anyone, and no one, we were on our own. We could do whatever we wanted. And then we grew up, and we got married to different people. And I actually have 2 kids now, 2 daughters, a 2-year-old and a 3-month-old. And it was a bit of a challenge because I knew that I didn't want to be gone from them for a month. That was not an option. So we rented out a house over in London, and that's where they're staying. And I'm kind of getting back to them as often as I can, which has been really fun. I've been able to explain to my 2-year-old, Daddy has to go to work. And then she says, well, don't you sing? And yes, singing is working, but I get that doesn't make sense. Most of the world doesn't understand that we sing and make money, but it's been a blessing, and it's been really fun to come back to them every 2 or 3 days. Daddy's home. I don't know. It's been a really memorable month for me.
Does it mark you as an artist? I mean, has it changed anything?
Yeah, well, I think we're probably, I know for me, I'm less cool now that I'm a dad.
I don't think so.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, okay. Now, I really want Josh to say something. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Sorry, I'm the lead singer. I'm usually the one with the microphone. He's the drummer.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with this.
Yeah, but we love him. Okay, you've been carrying Blurryface legacy, let's call it like that, for the last years. I mean, such great albums, so many records and after records, and the best rock album of the decade, or I think it was overwhelming. Do you feel the pressure to top all these records?
You're asking me?
Both of you. Who feels the pressure?
Yes and no. I think that we learn a lot, and so and I think, like you said, being able to play shows, I think that's where we really learn. And so we recorded and we put out Blurryface, and we toured a lot, and we played a lot of shows on that album, and really collected a lot of data on what it is that we want our show to look like. And so I think that we're constantly in pursuit of what a perfect show can be, and what type of songs need to fit within that show. And so I think that's really how we kind of approach writing and making albums. And so yeah, I mean, I think that the goal and desire as an artist is to get better and put out better albums. I think they're just going to be different as well. But you know, we love that album, and we love the other two that we've made since then, and I think we'll love the next one as well.
And so will we. I'm pretty sure. Okay, because you were speaking about the perfect show, I'm really curious, and this is personal curiosity, who comes with the crazy ideas? Because I've seen you climbing on the sound tower, I've seen you pounding on drums, I've seen you doing really crazy stuff in your shows. Who comes with the idea?
We both kind of come up with stuff. I mean, when Josh and I first met, I remember we bonded over listening to different music, watching different shows, and going to some concerts. And we always treated it very seriously. We were critical of other music. We tried to learn from other artists as much as we could. And I remember a lot of shows we would go to, and we would talk. What would we do different? You know, what do we think we would change? And so we're always trying to. I believe that every artist and every band has the optimal set list available to them. It's just they have to find it. They have inside of their own songs, inside of their albums, there's some combination with all of the correct transitions and the flow and the ups and downs. Every artist, every band has their optimal set list, and it's their job to find it. And we're still searching for it. We continue to make changes to our shows, trying to get that transition to be right. But then there's certain aspects of our show that have become a mainstay just because we feel like we got that part right. Now we just got to get every other part right. And every show we learn something. Even tonight we'll learn something. And after the show, I don't know what people expect when you come off of a stage that large, like what it is that we would do. We don't get off stage and celebrate. We get off stage and we huddle together with our crew and we talk about what we could do better, what went wrong, what could be fixed for next time. And even though this is the last show of this tour, we'll still have that meeting. And so that's just a part of the pursuit of the perfect show.
You're very serious about it. Okay,
yes.
now you're traveling miles, thousands of miles as artists, with thousands of people following you. But do you remember the first concert that you've been traveling just to see a favorite band?
We get to see a lot of bands now that we're traveling ourselves. You know, being at a festival, it's one of our favorite shows just because, you know, when we're not doing press conferences, I could be going and watching whatever it is that I could hear off in the distance. So we do catch a lot of shows when we travel. You know, being from Columbus, Ohio, there wasn't a ton of shows that would come through. And I don't know, driving through the countryside today, I actually asked Josh, I was like, you know, if you were a band, if you wanted to become a band and you lived here, you could still do it. You know, and I know that there's no limit to it because one, the internet helps, but two, good ideas rise to the top. And I think that, you know, coming from us, we didn't have any connection with anyone in the industry. We didn't, you know, ship our song off to someone who gave us our big break. We slowly built that credibility and that fan base from really just nothing. And so we realize that our story is something that could really inspire people who want to just get up and start creating themselves.
You actually have a very loyal fan base. Even here I have a person, I don't know if you want to be named, who have just seen 4 shows of yours in Europe. So you have a very loyal fan base. How do you build the connection with them? I mean, okay, you're not responsible for them, but at the same time, in spite of your very crazy shows, they are very well-behaving people. They are calm, they are following your rules, your guidance. How do you think it grew so big? It's spectacular.
It is amazing, but I think it's because we constantly promise them that we're going to pay them back for their tickets, and we haven't yet. But eventually, we'll get your money back for you. So.
It's expensive. He's been to 4 of your concerts.
I know. Just keep track of your receipts.
I know that you don't really prefer concerts or festivals. This tour, you've been covering a lot of festivals, but as far as I could understand, you don't prefer one or the other. But what do you think about this micro society, let's call it like that, that a festival builds. Is it something special for US artists or for US part of the public, let's say?
Yeah, that's a great question. Tyler and I talk about that. You know, there are differences between now that we've traveled around and we've played shows of our very own, and we've also played festivals. And in the very beginning of our band, we would travel around and we'd play a show, and most of the people there had no idea who we were. And so that was a really fun time and opportunity for Tyler and I to work really hard and try and prove ourselves to people in the room who didn't know who we were, and try and win them over as fans. And then that, you know, over some time that changed a little bit. And of course, every show there's probably going to be some new people there. But I feel like at a festival there's so many different people. You have no idea who is there to see who, and you know, sometimes people will buy a ticket to see some totally different band and maybe walk by and see you and then become a fan. And so I feel like coming and playing a festival for Tyler and I is kind of it is that opportunity to try and prove ourselves to people again. And there's just, I think, like you said, I think what you said, like a micro community, is because I like that. There is such a mindset of people who come to festivals it's very you know, creating space and time to come and enjoy music, and it's just a fun environment to be in, and to play in front of people who've dedicated that, you know, that time, whether it's a full day or a full weekend or just a few hours. It's, you know, it's really special.
Festivals are good too, because if it rains and storms and has to get canceled, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
And it's been raining a lot at Electric Castle several years ago, so we are famous for that. Not tonight. One last question, and I need answers from both of you, and please make it long. Okay. You make so many people happy with your shows, with your music. What makes you happy?
Food.
Tyler.
I said long. What kind of?
What makes us happy?
Elaborate.
Your question is what makes us happy?
Yeah.
Man. This might sound silly, it may not be relatable, but I love to compete. The feeling of maybe losing is very exciting to me. I hate losing more than I like winning. And so even if it's a competition, a game on your phone, a video game, or a sport, I love that feeling. I get out of bed every day because I want to win something, and I want to, more importantly, not lose something. I came from a very athletic kind of sport background with my family, and so that was kind of the foundation that our family kind of like was built upon. And coming into music, it was interesting because, especially with the type of environment like a festival, other musicians and other bands, they look at everyone as one giant family, and there's really no competition. You're not trying to outdo each other, or at least you don't tell them you are. But see, what I found is underneath, everyone is trying to compete. And even though we do subscribe to the idea of all of the ships rise together, we want this band to succeed that we hear right now over top of the microphone. But I also want to crush them. So you have to balance that. You want to win, you want to be great, but you also want to support the people that come from your community. And I think as I get older, I realize that it's more about looking back on maybe some younger bands and helping, because we've had a lot of really great bands ahead of us bring us on tour, teach us how to treat an opening band. We've been treated so well by so many bands. We also want to do that as well. And so then I just do my competition playing card games on my phone.
And Josh?
Man, I mean, I feel the exact same. I'm probably a little less competitive than Tyler, so when he beats me at something, it takes away it takes away a little of his excitement, probably. So I'm sorry about that. But I think that we both share in the sentiment of, or the feeling of sort of, there is especially, I mean, that is the other difference between playing our own show and playing a festival. There's a little more sense of competition at a festival that I think everybody feels a little bit, and there's something really fun about that. So yeah, it's hard to answer that because I feel like I feel the exact same way. Traveling as well. I think traveling does make me happy, especially because since just beginning music, the idea of traveling to play your songs and have your band in front of people, that was the goal and the idea. And it took us a little bit to even start traveling because we played locally and there was really no point in traveling because nobody knew who we were. Now that we can travel and we're here for the very first time in Romania, there's more people in this room right now than were at our first shows. So that makes me happy. I think that's pretty awesome, and appreciate you guys for being here. And also I want to say Electric Castle is probably one of the coolest names of a festival that we've probably played. Yeah, and drums. I like music, and I guess I'm happy.
You look happy. I'm happy you look happy and you're happy. Just a final message if you have for your Romanian fans. You have quite plenty, but I think this is not new for you. You have fans all over the world. But if you want to send a message for them, for your fans.
Yeah, I mean, to our Romanian fans, we're excited to meet you. I think maybe we've interacted a little bit, online, but there's nothing like actually getting together and celebrating music together in person. So we're excited.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you guys.